Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today we are going to talk about 3D consciousness and 5D consciousness. And you will learn how to move from the 3D vibration of control and lack to the 5D vibration of truth, harmony, and abundance. So, before we get started, if you are new here, I am Kanika. I'm an energy coach and Akashic Records reader, and I love helping people break from the limits that they feel and expand into the next level that they would like, whether that is more loving relationships or that is more expansion in their business or at work, etc. So, if you like content like this, please subscribe below so that we can stay connected. So let's begin by talking about 3D consciousness. 3D consciousness is really limited by the world that we see around us, by the stories that get passed on to us, the stories of lack, the stories of survival, the stories of limit. And there is less of everything. Everybody's running with time, or there is less money to go around, there are less resources, there is just lack, there is a vibration of winning and losing, like one party is bigger, one party is smaller. Everything in this world is binaries. One is going to be a 0, one's going to be a 1. So one party in general is going to be a bigger one is going to be a smaller one. That's going to be the loser. Whether you look at it in work relationship with your boss or in your life, there is one party which sort of dominates and the other party is on the receiving end of that. So 3D consciousness actually feels really dark, and that's why it's also called the dark grid. And you would have heard another terminology called the matrix, because it is very controlling. It just ties you. The way it ties you is with this constant loop of time and money. And if you look around, you will see that everybody is running on this loop of time and money. Like you get up in the morning and there are things for you to do. So it just literally consumes your time, consumes your day, and doesn't leave you free enough to do the stuff that you would really like. Maybe you even just want to sleep and you don't have enough time for that. Or when is the last time you actually did your hobbies? Maybe you liked painting when you were a child. When is the last time you did that? So 3D consciousness is very much this world of lack. And the way it controls you is, first of all, with your time, because time starts getting taken away. Even consider the time from when you were growing up. Your time really gets taken away from you. Even little kids, you will see them being booked for a lot of things. They have to spend time at school, they have to do a certain amount of homework and so on. But that amount of free space, that ability to just be and play and have that freedom, that just does not exist in the 3-dimensional consciousness. The more you are busy, it's actually hard to find that time to be still, to be connected, to actually feel refreshed. The busier you are with time, the more your agency with time is taken away. So the busier you are, it automatically drives you into a pattern where you just get up in the morning, do certain things, the whole day goes like an automatic robot almost, because there are certain steps you keep doing over and over again, and there's very little space for you to think about yourself, for you to think in terms of evolution, for you to think or act in terms of stuff that you want to do. And then the next control that we have is with money. Whatever you want to do, you feel like, I need money for that. And then money becomes that control because, well, to earn money, you have to work hard. So you give a lot more of your time. And again, you don't have free space for yourself. You just don't feel free at all. You actually feel really, really limited. And hence the name dark grid or matrix, because it's really confining you. The common story is that you will need to really work very hard for money. Money is limited. And I would tell you that all of this is just an illusion, because if it wasn't, then there are people who actually do have money. There are people who are living lives that they enjoy. They are able to spend time with their kids. They're still able to earn a lot more. So the whole 3D world, it's illusion. We feel separated from each other in this world because one is 0, one is 1. So you've got to win. That's the ever-going battle. And in the separation, that is the root of all the problems here, because it brings us to fear, it brings us to survival mode. This separation actually causes a lot of this dynamic in the relationships as well, because you're trying to act out of fear. You will try and stop someone because you are worried about their safety. You will maybe stop your kids from climbing on something that they wanted to do because you're worried about them. You will stop your partner from doing something because you're worried about them, or because you want to control them, and somewhere you feel like your authority is threatened if they show up in a different way. So the whole dynamic here is not really set up for you to feel fully expanded, because the vibration is control and it keeps you in this loop as well. Now let's move on to 5D consciousness. 5D consciousness is really about expansion. It's about owning your truth, really vibrating in harmony and being in flow with the universe, which actually has the vibration of abundance. In classical computing, everything has to be binary. It has to be either 0 or 1. But in the quantum world, the qubits, they can be 0, 1, and they can be 0 and 1 at the same time. What that means is, in 5D consciousness, you can be in the process and you can be the whole as well. You could be the mom and you can be the entrepreneur. You could be in the light and you can be in the shadow. And think about it. If you are in a relationship right now and you feel like there's an imbalance somewhere, in 5D consciousness, it doesn't have to be imbalanced. You can have it all. So the vibration in 5D consciousness is not win-lose. It is win-win, or it is lose-lose. We work together rather than being very individualistic or separate as happens in the 3D consciousness. 5D consciousness is really around harmony. It's actually more and more about imbibing your own inner truth, really being aligned with your inner compass, because when you are bringing that inner compass into vibration, that inner flow, that is divine source energy. And that is the vibration of harmony, of truth, of light. It is more evolution at a community level. It is more the vibration of, well, let's do this together. What is good for all of us? So relationships are not going to be about control, but they're going to be about mutual growth. They're going to be about you being authentic, the other person being authentic, and then the combined evolution. A lot of the struggles that we have now, where we might be told, don't dress up this way, don't speak this way, don't think this way, don't do this occupation, that stops happening in 5D consciousness, because the very vibration there is that you stand in your truth, I'm going to stand in our truth, and together we're going to evolve and rise. And you know, the 5 senses that we have: sight, smell, sound, taste, touch. In the 3D consciousness, they're really limited because that's all that we perceive of them. In the 5D world, you get into extra abilities. For example, with seeing, it's not just about seeing as in literally what is appearing to me with my eyes, but this is going to be more about third eye. It's going to be more around visions, being able to understand that you are a small part of this bigger universe of the entire consciousness. I mean, think about it anyway. You are a very tiny human being. If you compare yourself against the earth, then you compare yourself against the sun. And if you just keep zooming out more and more and you see yourself in the universe, you're really just a very tiny speck. In 5D consciousness, you are really aware that you are part of this entire divine consciousness. So what we do in the 3D consciousness around trying to control someone so that we can have our outcome, it becomes a very different behavior in 5D consciousness. Because you understand you are the rhythm, you are the breath. Now, to really explain 3D and 5D, let's take a metaphor. 3D is very much like being inside an aquarium. You want to control the temperature, so you will be measuring it. You will also be cleaning the water with a filter. You will be adjusting the temperature accordingly, right? That's your world in 3D, and it's very task oriented. So it takes a lot of time. It's very continual. You need to continue working. 3D consciousness, limited, controlling. 5D consciousness, you are the ocean. So you are part of the bigger world, the bigger universe. You are part of that. Now, there's no need to control the ocean. You just can't. But what you realize is that that you are co-creating with the ocean. So you control your own breath because you are the ocean. Every bit of you can have that ripple effect. So you start controlling yourself to change whatever you are experiencing in the ocean. Remember, I was giving you the example of 0 and 1 binary world in the 3D consciousness. In 5D, we are moving on to quantum world. We are moving on to qubits, which can be both 0 and 1. And that means that you don't have to be limited. Even if you are the 0, you can still cause a ripple effect. So even if you felt like you were just tiny, you can change that and you can become whatever consciousness you want because you are not limited. It's just your decision. You have as much right, as much free will, as much sovereignty as anyone else, whether that is a 0 or a 1, because everybody exists. No part that is bigger than the other. So when you want to control or change things in the ocean, all that you do is you change yourself. And that's the little trick as well. We'll expand on this a little bit later in the episode, that if you want to move from the 3D illusion of control, of lack, of feeling stuck, all you have to do is start changing your inner vibration and enter into that vibration where you feel a lot more expansive. I'll give you a lot more hacks in a few minutes as well. Just continuing to talk about 5D consciousness, this vibration is not about you versus me, it's about you and me. Everything is together here. So there's no separation. We are together. The vibration here is about truth, harmony. Harmony is getting to that place where it will be better for each one of us. The competition is not there. However you want to be, you can be that. However you evolve, you can be that. There is permission for that. So you know how in our 3D world, it can be like, well, I want you to stay a certain way. I want you to have particular occupations. I don't want you to speak about this topic. I want you to say something in this way. There is that ownership. There is that separation, which is why we hide parts of ourselves, which is why we sometimes even forget who we truly are. But 5D vibration is really coming to yourself more and more. 5D vibration is actually acting from your authenticity. And if you have a job in 5D vibration, it is actually to be more and more authentic, to be more and more of who you are, because that is the vibration of the universe, the abundance, the divine abundance and consciousness that actually flows through each one of us. So in 5D consciousness, you're actually encouraged to be a lot more truthful. You're encouraged to be more vulnerable. You're encouraged to be more visible. You're actually encouraged to do everything that you want to do. In this space, you will find that you are a lot more grounded. You are heart-centered and you're very connected with people. Very different from how it can sometimes feel like in the 3D world, because there you would feel, well, if I do this, I'm going to be singled out. I will have some repercussions. But 5D consciousness is not that at all. 5D consciousness is where you can do whatever your heart inspires you to do, and you only feel more connected, more celebrated, and more abundant because of it. And now, talking about abundance, by the way, in 5D consciousness, abundance is the byproduct. You are not really chasing abundance, you're not chasing wealth. It just comes because you are in harmony with the universe, and the whole universe just gives you abundance because that is the natural flow. Whereas in 3D world, you are chasing time and money. So you can end up being in that cycle where you are chasing time and money both. And they still seem to be running away. Or there is a lot of effort that is needed for having a little bit of a holiday or having more money, because you just have to work a lot harder. 5D vibration is around flow. And the more you are in flow, the more you are in your truth and doing things that truly inspire you, you get more. It's a very different vibration. So maybe here you are thinking, like, how does evolution really happen? Like in 3D world, there is a leader because somebody is in power and then you follow that person. But you see the lack with this setup as well, because it's really dependent on who the person in power is. And when you think about it, a lot of the people, a lot of the companies, countries as well, they all have their own agenda. So it's selfish. And because of that rooted selfishness, the evolution cannot always be good for everyone because somebody has an agenda somewhere. Whereas 5D vibration is very different. 5D vibration is very different. It is actually based on your authenticity and your evolution, however, really you want to do it. Maybe today you want to be an artist, and then tomorrow you decide, well, no, I'm just going to do a job. And then third day you decide, well, now I'm going to be a baker. Fourth day you decide, well, now I'm going to be a music writer. Whatever you want to do, all of that is possible in the 5D world because it is based on the vibration of your truth. Whatever is the music of your soul, you are encouraged to sing that, do that in the 5D world. Actually, the more authentic you are, the more the universal life force will flow through you, and the more you'll have opportunities and other things that you really desire in your life, the more they will come to you. So that's the process in the 5D world. It is allowing you to evolve however you want to evolve. And think about it, if everybody in the world could literally be just how they wanted to be, there was no control there, we could all feel a lot more alignment, a lot more flow, a lot more abundance, being how we are, like doing the jobs that we wanted to do, dressing the way we wanted to do, speaking the way we wanted to do. Wouldn't life be a lot more easier? But also in terms of evolution, all of us would be able to evolve a lot more because whatever we wanted to do, we all can just learn without being limited. And that system where everybody is evolving, where we are not trying to control, because it takes energy to control as well. You have to monitor, you have to put systems in place. Whereas 5D consciousness, that is why, is a lot more expansive because it's self-managed. You don't have to, first of all, spend that time managing, controlling, telling someone like this is good for you, this is not good for you. It just takes you away from that system. In 3D consciousness, there is a need for control because there are other people who are in charge of you. That could be your boss, that could be your friends, your family members, that could even be the media, that could be the country leaders as well. So somewhere your power is outsourced and they have to look after you, so to speak, and their resources, energy that goes into that as well. So it's a very complicated system, and hence there is limited growth possibility, even if these people are not acting out of their agenda. 5D consciousness, on the other hand, is wired very differently. This is working with the natural flow of the universe, the universal consciousness. When you are in your truth, you are actually running divine source vibration. You're connected with the rhythm. You connected with that vibrational frequency, and automatically with doing that, everybody is getting more and more into their light, into their truer selves, into more evolution, because that is the vibration of source. It is a vibration of universal love. It is a vibration of abundance. So you see, the whole system of control is really not needed, because the more and more people tune into themselves, meaning more and more the people tune into their inner truth, to their connection with divine source consciousness, they're just automatically getting more into light. It's a lot simpler. So if I give an example of leading in 5D consciousness, that is different to the 3D consciousness, because in 3D consciousness, somebody is the leader, and that somebody has to put resources or to put energy into maintaining that leadership or guidance. Whereas in 5D consciousness, the more evolved you are, you act like a lighthouse. You will have boats that come, that get their vision because they are seeing you, they get their direction, and they move on their path. So here you are not controlling. You are simply standing there, shining your light, being your truer self. Lighthouse doesn't do anything. Lighthouse is not waiting for boats. Lighthouse is not controlling boats. Lighthouse just stands at its place and shines, spreads its light, says its truth, and the boats see. The boats get their direction, the boats get their inspiration, and they move on their own journey. So you see, it's a very simple system where you don't really have to impact someone else. You don't have to control someone else. They automatically see you and they get inspired and they move on their journey in accordance with what is in alignment with them. Now, what steps can we take to move towards 5D consciousness? The first step is going to be to move from the me thinking to an us thinking. So not really thinking, well, how do I win, but really thinking, well, how do all of us evolve? What is good for all of us? So for businesses, that is going to be a shift in thinking from just a sole profit motive, but really thinking in terms of the wider community as well, thinking in terms of their employers, thinking in terms of the teams and the wider community that they impact, thinking what is the best for everybody, really becoming a lot more ethical, a lot more in tune with your inner conscience. And similar thing within the families as well. Rather than one person really making the decisions for everyone or ruling everyone, it is more about allowing everybody to play out what they really want to play out, not controlling them, but just simply being there with them to help them do whatever they want to do. And within families, you can allow the other family members to do what they want to do without controlling, being there as a support system, offering them guidance around what you think about their next steps, but still giving them the free choice to be able to live their life as they want, and being together with them in the process, no matter what, whether their choice turns out to be. So the whole movement towards 5D consciousness is moving from this vibration of control to the vibration of being. And that's a very hard thing to do. You are not controlling anyone. You are not going to be controlled by anyone. You are simply moving to your own inner consciousness. You're tuning in more with divine source consciousness within you. Instead of trying to correct the outside, you will actually look at yourself inside. Remember the ocean? So instead of trying to correct anyone outside, you will look at yourself inside, see where your internal vibe gets that experience and clean that out. You can look at some of my other videos to get more of an understanding here. 5D consciousness is moving away from the concept of I need to control someone else, rather just being the lighthouse yourself and having faith in the universe. Having faith in the divine consciousness that runs through you, that everything will be okay, that the system is working, that whatever evolution needs to happen for anybody else, your loved ones or the wider world, that is all working perfectly. Now, the good news is that the earth is already moving towards 5D consciousness. And how do we know this? Because we have a lot more light workers in our societies today. We have a lot more people who are starting up or running very successful heart-led businesses. And more of those people will happen. There's so many more people who are now coming up with ideas, with creations that are radically different. Maybe they are leading lives that are very different to how they had seen when they were little. There are people who are having a very good balance within their home life and they're just doing something very creative. There are more and more people who are sharing authentic stories about themselves and about other people in the society. So we have a lot more people coming out, and that is the vibration of truth. That is the vibration of growth and harmony. We are really breaking out of the control vibration and the matrix that 3D has, because there are more people who are successful doing a lot of online businesses, actually being creators and not being consumers. They are creating life in the way that they want. There are people who are running their own businesses, who are really running it in a fashion that they would like as well, where they have more time for their family, they're able to earn more, but they're also really doing things that inspire them and that are much better at large for the society. And that's how we know that we are really moving away into a lot more expansive living. So how can you find out if you are in 3D consciousness or in 5D consciousness? Well, 3D is really trying to control everything, right? Think of the aquarium. Like, are you in the controlling mindset? Do you feel like you are in lack? You have to be in survival. That would be 3D. If you really feel a lot more expansive, if you feel that you have an abundant life, then you're living in the 5D consciousness. Another way to think about it would be, do you think that life is happening to you? Or is life happening for you? Meaning, are you a victim in your life that, maybe a tragedy happens, somebody else says something to you, there's a lot of drama going on in your life, you don't really feel the ease, control, then that is 3D consciousness, because you are still tied in the everyday struggles of time, money. In 5D consciousness, that is just not the case. If you feel like life is working out for you, if you feel like you are the co-creator in life, then that is 5D consciousness. And here's a massive giveaway way. Are you consuming a lot or are you creating? Consuming would mean that you are the passive person. You are consuming content, maybe on Instagram or on televisions or YouTube videos, but you're just consuming a lot of content. That is the passive state where you are not creating. But are you creative? And creative could be in lots of forms. Maybe you love creating different sorts of food. Maybe you love creating some art. Maybe you love creating some writing. Maybe you love creating content, but are you creating something? Creation is 5D consciousness, and consuming would be 3D consciousness. Another way to understand whether you are in 3D consciousness or 5D consciousness is to look at what chakras you are operating from. You could do a very quick diagnostic when you are in your meditation space, and you could just ask from 1 to 7, what chakra am I operating from? Now, the lower 3 chakras, they are body chakras. First chakra is around survival, literally around fear, your doubts, everything that lives there. The second chakra is around emotions, sexuality. The third chakra is very much around your career space, like the stuff that you have to do and so on. But if that's where you spend a lot of your time, just thinking around your everyday emotions or just thinking around your material place, whether you feel safe within the house or what things that you have to buy, if these are the main things that you're thinking about, then you are in the 3D consciousness. 5D consciousness would be if you're operating in the upper chakras. So your fourth chakra onwards. The fourth chakra is your heart chakra. So that is very much around attraction. It's very much around you feeling like you have enough love. There's no lack here. So you're really able to give out unconditional love and you're able to receive very fully as well. Your fifth chakra would be around being able to speak your truth. First of all, knowing your truth, what is it that you want to say, and then being able to speak that without feeling like you have to hide. If you're able to go out and put on social media or talk to your friends and family and really just be authentic, that would mean that you are in 5D consciousness. If you're able to have a bigger understanding around why things are happening in life, if you're able to really tune into your intuition, get spiritual insights, if you feel connected with the consciousness and the universe around you, if you feel like guidance flows through you, then you are in 5D consciousness. If you would like to know more about chakras or activate some of your blocked chakras, then I have a full playlist where I go individually on each of the chakras. You can find a lot more detail in this playlist. And now let's move on to how can you move from 3D consciousness to 5D consciousness. So first of all, tune into yourself as much, more and more as you can, because within you is the divine source consciousness, which is literally the vibration of 5D consciousness. So the more you tune within, the more you are able to tap into divine source consciousness, life force through your meditations, through energy healing, or any other technique that you follow, the more you will find yourself moving from 3D to 5D, really moving from lack to a world where life flows more easily, where you don't have as much drama, where it feels a lot more expansive. And then second, here's a little hack I'm going to give you as an energy coach. When I tune in and look at people who are feeling stuck, I usually see like a big shell around them. It's this big shell which is very dark, which is why 3D consciousness is the dark grid. But it seems to be like this collection of mesh and wires, very dark, like a dark cloud shell that is around all of us. That is the 3D consciousness. That is how we are connected to it. In your meditation space, imagine disconnecting from that and rather outside it, so above it. So let's say like there's this first layer of shell that is around us, which is a dark one, and outside it is the 5D consciousness, and that is golden color. So just imagine disconnecting yourself from 3D consciousness and then connecting yourself to this expansive vibration of 5D consciousness. And that's a little hack that you can just try for a few minutes every day and you will start noticing the results. So finally, I wanted to leave you with what does activating or embodying 5D consciousness really feel like? Because what does that good feel like? How will your life change? So let's talk about it in terms of real tangible differences that you will feel. The first difference you will feel is flow. Like life will not be as dramatic, but life will be in flow. You will not have suddenly money taken out somewhere or the car getting damaged. That sort of dramatic life where events just happen and you get caught caught off guard or you feel like you are always stopping fires, that will just change. Flow will be more that you think about people, they will call you. There will be just so much synergy in your everyday life. Like literally what happens with me is that I'll go to bed and I'll think, well, I would like to find out about such and such person. And somehow the next day I'll get some email, something will pop up that I will just get connected with that person. And I am giving you this example so that you can feel that it is within your reach as well. That flow, that magic that is within your reach. So you're basically not going to chase things, but things will just happen for you almost automatically. There will just be this synergy with the world. In terms of money, you will not be chasing money. You will feel abundant. You will feel like whatever you want to do, you don't feel limited about it. And money will actually come as a byproduct because you will be having so much fun creating and doing what you want to do that money is almost going to be the cherry on top, not the other way around. You will wake up feeling inspired every day. And in terms of time, you will not feel very busy, or you might actually feel busy, but that busyness would be doing things that you really like to do. Maybe you go to some events that you really want to go to, or you are busy creating your artwork. But that is good busy, right? Because that is stuff that you really want to do. So your time will be spent on things that you really want to do. You will also feel a lot more connection with the overall consciousness, like you will have spiritual downloads coming to you. The feeling of lack will not be there, but you will feel actually really safe and held. And you'll enjoy life every moment. If your happiness right now is a little bit up and down and up and down, in the sense that you go to a movie, you enjoy it, you come back and you feel like, okay, now it's done, now what? But you will be in the state of happiness. It will just be. You will generally feel every day like life is very good. By the way, it doesn't mean that life will always unfold in the manner that you planned, because you still might get stuck in traffic jams, or things might still happen that take you by surprise or that you don't really like. But you will have this innate faith in the universe that whatever is happening for your expansion. You will not feel as attached or as triggered. So you might lose something, you might lose a ring, you might lose a relationship, but you will be able to see the bigger picture. You will also be able to understand why it needed to happen for you to grow. And every time when you have those little things happen to you, you will actually find that you are stepping into a lot more expansion. You are getting into a next level where you are able to do something which is even far more fulfilling for your soul. Thank you so much for watching this episode on 3D and 5D consciousness. If you have enjoyed it, please leave me a review or drop your questions below, because I would love to know what you thought about it. I will see you next time with another episode. Till then, keep smiling. I am Kanika, your energy coach.